This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
All right, welcome back, Lucha Lushes, for another episode of Get to Know, the PTBN PWO Wrestling with Words edition, I guess. As tonight we are joined with a special guest, but first, of course, I have my co-host, my regular co-host. He's not a special co-host this week, Adrian Delatore.
I am special, but I'm not a special co-host. Yes, thank you, Tim. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic, and our guest tonight, and I will admit it now as I'm introducing him on this show, as I have had him on another show. It took me a while to realize that your name is Carl Mann, as in your last name is Mann.
I know.
Did you realize that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's... I know, I wonder, I've noticed that some people might not actually realize that that's my actual name, Carl Mann. They might think it's just like trying to be clever or whatever, but yeah, that's my name.
Do you spell it M-A-N-N? There's two N's in there.
Yeah, it's M-A-N-N.
Yeah, I've heard that name. There's a famous director called Michael Mann, I think is his name.
Yeah, like I'm aware that it's a last name, but I guess that because I was working in the vein of like online, like chat room names and stuff for Twitter and this, I thought like it was Carl Mann, like it's meant to be like Superman. And so we're doing the other podcast that we'll do it live, and there was times where I was like switching in and out of like thinking, oh, his name is actually Carl Mann. And I don't know if it came across. Like, could you tell that I was awkward in the fact that I realized your name during the interview, or do you remember that at all?
You know what? Now that you mention it, I kind of have like a vague... My memory's horrible for one thing, but I kind of have a vague memory of remembering that and thinking, I wonder if... wait, does Smithy not know that that's my name, or is he just becoming aware of that right now or something? So
nice.
Yeah, now that you mention that, it's ringing a bell.
I like that you said you have a vague memory of remembering that. That's great. I love that.
Yeah. My memory is shot, man. Oh my god.
Oh, I have horrible memory too. I'm there with you, buddy.
Oh, good. So we can commiserate and.
Yeah, I forget everything.
Well, luckily we're recording this, so you guys can go back and listen to it later when you forget everything we talk about.
Yeah, thank goodness.
With the
So
top
Carl,
beer, I should start. Oh no, sorry. I don't want to go off on a tangent. Go ahead, do your thing.
No, please go off on a tangent.
I was just gonna say that for top beer, like I think I should start listening to the episodes, like, or when I'm editing, as I'm listening, writing notes for the show description, because sometimes I forget what the hell we talk about. So.
Yes. So the show now, I guess, officially has 3 questions that we ask, and we have an opening question, a final question, and then I guess a middle question, if I remember correctly from the last interview episode. So, Carl, of course, we'll start with the opening question.
All right, this is exciting, man. Okay, let's go.
Are you now, or have you ever been a member of the PWO board?
No, I have not.
You are not. Okay. So, how long would you say you've been like involved in the internet wrestling community? How long have you been online talking about wrestling?
Oh, I think only like maybe 1 year, since like April or May of 2016.
Oh, interesting. So before that, what were you kind of doing with your wrestling fandom?
Man, but my wrestling fandom has like been my whole life. My wrestling fandom has been so up and down, man. It's like a case where I love wrestling and I'm totally into it, and then it just like I hate it and I'm done with it and I don't want anything to do with it again, and then I kind of gradually get back into it, and then something happens and then I'm gone. So up until like a year ago, I didn't even know that there was like an internet wrestling community, or these like the PWO board that you're talking about, any of that stuff. And so I mean, up until say last year, I was watching, man, I don't know. I'm trying to think like the best way to explain it. Like I was basically watching WWE. I subscribed to the Observer, so I used to get the Observer newsletter all the time. And then when they switched over to like having the online site, and I subscribed to it there, so I was listening to Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer all the time. And then they were starting to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ustream and everything like that. And that was, at the time, I was just basically the only wrestling that I was able to watch was WWE. Like that's what I was watching. And I was getting fed up with WWE, with the product, it was just driving me crazy. Like I've been watching that stuff since since the early 80s, like the mid 80s, right? Like when I was a little kid, I started watching WWF. So I've seen it. Like I've gone through these cycles of being let down by that company, by the way they present their wrestling and everything like that. So I started getting interested in New Japan because of Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, and then I found out about Ustream, so I started going on Ustream and I'd watch shows here and there, and that might have been like maybe 5 years ago or something. I don't know. My timeline is really bad. But so I was like watching that, and I was sick of WWF. And then basically what happened is the New Japan World came out. Like how many years ago is that? Like 3 or 4 years now?
I think it was like 3 years ago at this point.
Okay, so 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, New Japan World became a thing, and I subscribed to it the very first day. And then from there, I guess I don't even know how the process happened, but I started finding out about wrestling podcasts. I guess because at first there was things like, you know, JR's podcast and Chris Jericho, and then from there I just started doing digging, and then I started finding out about all these other podcasts, and one thing led to another, and then I started listening to you know, like the Place to Be Nation podcasts, and then I was starting to find out about a whole different world of wrestling podcasts, and then one day it was Wrestling with Words. I found the Wrestling with Words podcast, and it was the Puro in the Rough podcast with Isaac. And they were talking about All Japan and the Champions Carnival from last year. And then that's what led me to going on to Twitter. And I started talking with people on Twitter, like Morton, and he told me about Real Hero Archive. And then from there, it was like you know, I was off. Like all of a sudden I had access to all kinds of wrestling that I'd always heard about, I'd read about in the Observer, but never actually had a chance to see. And then from there, it's just been like a exponential growth in terms of, you know, having options of different kinds of wrestling to watch. So, you know, Evolve, that's like another one. So yeah, it's kind of like a weird sort of journey in terms of wrestling, but that's kind of how it went.
Okay, so I definitely want to get into kind of that for someone who's just now kind of getting into the online scene with wrestling, and how, if you've noticed any changes in your habits. But we'll start out with the Twitter thing here. So were you on Twitter before kind of the wrestling thing, and then you just hopped on because you heard people talking about it on podcasts and stuff, and that's when you started kind of talking back and forth?
Basically, yeah. So I think like to the best of my recollection, and also like last couple of years, like, and I guess we can, like, because I know you want to talk about like sort of what your life's like and all that too, right? So like for me, last couple of years have been like a lot of changes in my life, right? And a lot of kind of ups and downs, and some somewhat tough times. And so I started getting into these podcasts, these wrestling podcasts. It was like a really good distraction for me, I'll put it that way, right? And the best of my recollection is that I started listening to these podcasts, and I think it really was the Puro in the Rough podcast, which was the one that made a huge impact on me, because I heard Isaac, and I think at the time it was Lawrence, and they were talking about All Japan, and there was like so much passion in the way they were talking about it. And also Isaac has like a really good like I miss having him on those podcasts, man, because he just has like a really like cool way about talking about wrestling. But I think from listening to that podcast, I looked and I saw these guys' Twitter handles, and I was like, oh, I could go on Twitter too. So that's what I did. I went on Twitter, and then I started trying to reach out to different people. And like, I think for whatever reason, one of the first people I talked to was Morton VH, right? And oh yeah, because like I found out about the you know, the Puro on Demand stream, right? And then I was just like starting to ask all these questions, like trying to bug people, and they were like, oh, go to this guy, ask him, and stuff like that. So that's kind of how things developed there, as best as I can remember.
So I guess my question then, seeing as we don't have a PWO handle to parse out, is your Twitter name, as it was, you said you kind of made it before, or yeah, you had a Twitter before you were wanting to interact with people on there. What's the Carlitos way? What's the significance there?
Oh, there's no significance. I just wanted something like catchy and stuff. So my name's Carl, and you know, actually my friends used to call me Carlito. That's one of like many nicknames that I've had over the years. So I was like, oh, Carlito's Way. I could just incorporate that movie. So that's what I did. I've had like a few different Twitter names since I've been on Twitter, but like that's the one that I made most recently. So no real significance to it, though.
I was gonna say I've heard of that movie. I've never seen it. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, man, Carlito's Way. It's like one of the best movies, man. One of the
What's
best.
it about?
Like,
Is it about like a Cuban guy or something?
yeah, it's like Puerto Ricans in the Bronx and stuff like that. Benny Blanco from the Bronx, and man, I forgot that actor's name, but he's so good. And but it's basically like Puerto Rican like gangsters and stuff in New York.
Ah, yeah. I like those kinds of movies. They don't make movies like that anymore. Like Bronx Tale. Did you ever see a Bronx Tale?
Oh yeah, Bronx Tale is like classic. Man.
I love movies. They don't make movies like that anymore for some reason. It's weird.
Dude, Carlito's Way you should see because it's Al Pacino. He's the main star.
That's right.
And, and it's also then there's two other guys. One guy's like a really ugly looking guy. He's in all kinds of movies. He's like a really ugly, like he always plays a thug. No disrespect to that gentleman.
No disrespect.
Yeah, no disrespect. He's I'm sure he's a great guy and handsome in his own way, ruggedly handsome we could say, but he's just like a scary. Ugly is probably the wrong word to use. He's just a scary looking, like serious looking dude. He's in all kinds of movies. Everyone knows him.
Well, I pulled it up real quick. So Benny Blanco is John Leguizamo, and
Luis Guzman. That's what you're talking about.
No. He's talking about Sean Penn, which is really interesting that you're saying he's so ugly. I mean, I've never found him to be that ugly, but he does play thugs in most movies.
No, not Sean Penn. Sean Penn's like a handsome boy. He used to be anyway, but no, the other guy, the Luis Guzman guy.
Yeah, I think Tim's just making a joke.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Have you seen that movie, Tim?
No, I haven't. I know that it's kind of it's almost like a more cult classic Scarface in some ways. No, am I right there?
Yeah, definitely. But it's like a different. It's like a New York version and stuff, I guess. But it's like and it's Al Pacino. You know, both movies, right? So he's not playing like that Cuban. He's not playing the Cuban, but in this one he's playing a Puerto Rican and stuff, and it's like very New York centric. You know what I mean? So
did you ever see Blood In, Blood Out?
Oh yeah, of course. I've seen all those movies. Blood In, Blood Out.
That's an
like
epic
classic.
like L.A. gang movie, man. That's like that movie is like the Odyssey of L.A. gang movies. Like if you ever want to see a gang movie that's like an epic journey from start to finish, like watch Blood In, Blood Out. It's so good.
Oh yeah. Back in the 90s, like I have a buddy like that. He worships that movie. He used to like think he was like a Mexican gangster himself. Like that used to be like his goal, his dream. Like that's what he wanted to be and stuff. And oh my gosh,
not shooting for the stars, huh?
Yeah. He was like, he was aiming high at that time. You know, he's like, that's what my life's gonna be. I was like, okay, man. I was like, you go for that, man. But yeah, no, that's an awesome movie, man.
That's really good.
So I guess going kind of back to the topic that I wanted to touch on was what kind of change have you noticed in your wrestling fandom? Because I do comment sometimes just about how positive and how much you seem to enjoy things even more than I do when it's like kind of the more mundane stuff in wrestling. Have you noticed a lot of changes in your habits and what you watch and how much you enjoy things since you've gotten more involved with kind of the internet side of the wrestling?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I've noticed so many changes. I don't even know how to like fully explain all the changes and really really do justice to how much the changes are. Like I know like for me, like I love my thing is I love the Global Tag League for New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's like my favorite. I loved when they had that tag league and I would just come home and there'd be 4 matches that each match would be like 10 or 12 minutes long, except usually there'd be a main event that would be like 17 or 18 minutes. I like when it's just, for some reason, sometimes like if I'm in the right frame of mind and everything is going good in my day and I don't have any stresses and I have like time that I can devote to watching some wrestling, I actually don't mind. If they're wrestlers that I like guys who I like, I don't mind just watching like normal average matches. Like it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be like the American indie style, like crazy strike battle, high spot, boom boom boom. It can just be the slow basic, I don't even know how to describe it, but yeah, just basic matches. Like sometimes I love those, but yeah, like things have changed a lot for me in terms of wrestling. Like from like, first of all, from being like in the Slack chat, for example, right? Like with Wrestling with Words, like that's where I know you from and everything mostly. It's like a whole different, it's like being inside a certain kind of wrestling fan bubble that I wasn't in before. Like in my world, to all my friends, I'm like the guy that knows everything about wrestling. I'm the guy that's like the wrestling nerd, like the guy who's like loves wrestling, and people will come to me and go, "What's going on?" But they only know about WWE. They don't know about, like, let alone they don't know about things like, I don't know. They don't know about any of those indies that are going on in the U.S. They don't know about wrestling in Japan. They're surprised when they found out that Hulk Hogan wrestled in Japan, for example, right? But they just know about WWE. They don't know about Evolve. They don't know about PWG. They don't know about Ring of Honor, Impact, anything, right? So they're always asking me stuff like that. Then I kind of get on Twitter, and I'm starting to get exposed to more wrestling than I even knew about before, and I'm sort of like in, like, kind of hanging out with you guys, talking. I'm learning so much from all of you about different wrestlers and wrestling, and it's like I used to be the person who I'm like inside a bubble, but I used to be outside the bubble. So I look at it in two different ways. Like it's like a couple years ago, if I were to sit down and watch something like PWX, like I wouldn't even give it 2 minutes of my time. I'd see like the opening match, and I'd see like I'm just going to throw out some names, and this is nothing indicative of these particular wrestlers or anything like that. But if I turned on like some kind of wrestling and I saw there's a basketball net in the background, and then I saw like, and then like the first guys were the Ugly Ducklings that came out, I'd take like one look at them. I go, all right, cool. No, that's not for me. I'll find something else. You know what I mean? But it's funny that kind of wrestling now has grown on me in a lot of ways, right? And it's not to disparage that. It's just that, like, there's two different sets of eyes. Like, I don't know how to explain it really. Like, I feel like I'm not doing it justice, but like, even for example, like, you know, when we talked before, it's because we did the We'll Do It Live thing, right? And I was going to Smash Wrestling, like something like Smash Wrestling, I would have never considered going to in the past, you know. So it's like because of Twitter and this kind of internet wrestling community that my eyes have been opened. So there have been like big changes in terms of that.
Do you think it's for the better? Would you say it's a positive change?
Yeah, that's a good question. It is for the better, but it is. It is, because that's like such a good question to ask, man. Like, and it's like such an interesting question. And I almost feel like there'd be a way to say that it's not for the better, but it is, because like I get to watch so much more wrestling now. I don't know. You know what? That's so funny, man. Now that I'm thinking about that, I don't know if it is for the better or not, to be honest. Like, what? Let me ask you, like, why, like in what sense would you ask that question? Like,
I mean, it's tough even for myself, because I've been so, I guess, dissociated from a world of almost pure just fandom for so long that I can't remember it. So I guess what I mean is, like, for you, because it's so much closer, can you remember maybe it being a little bit more unspoiled? But I think right now a lot of your fandom seems like it still is unspoiled.
it is, yeah, I guess it is in some ways. I think more so than, like, say you or some other guys. Like when I listen to your guys' podcast, I think definitely it is. So that's interesting. Like it's a good way of putting it.
Well, yeah, it's just like you can just enjoy it. I mean, so there, I got an episode of Military Industrial Suplex coming out, and we talked about postmodernism and wrestling. And as we're talking about it last night, I did get to a point where I talked about essentially mincing wrestling apart so far and being so hypercritical of it and questioning every bit of it so much that it almost isn't wrestling anymore, and you're not taking the time to appreciate it for what it is. Yeah, so I wonder if you feel any of that creeping in at this point, and if you would choose to go back if you could.
Yeah, I do, and I would choose to go back. And that's I like how you brought that up, because yes, like sometimes when I listen, like sometimes for me, like I find myself becoming too much like that, and I don't like it in myself. Like when I see it, I'm like, this isn't why I'm watching wrestling. It's not to be here and saying, oh, this guy didn't do this right, or it's that is definitely happening. And I'll tell you a story. Like, so okay, so maybe 12 years ago, I'm gonna say this is around 2004, 2005. I'm at a bar with my buddies, all of my buddies from high school. We've been hanging out for years and years. I still been following wrestling, like, and by following wrestling, I'm talking about WWE, right, at that time. And I think this is around the time. So you know when this would have been? This would have been around the time when, say, Chris Benoit was on Raw, and they had Shawn Michaels. Chris Benoit maybe had just won the title. It was that kind of era of Raw. I don't know if that was 2003, 2004. And then at the same time on SmackDown, you had like Kurt Angle and you had like, well, actually, no. Okay. So yeah, at this time it would have been when Benoit was on Raw. And they had Benoit, they had Triple H, they had Shawn Michaels. I can't remember who else. But I remember we were at a bar one night on a Monday and Raw was on. And I was like going to one of my buddies and I was like, oh man, this wrestling is so good right now. And he's like, really? He goes, I haven't watched that in years since like you know, Stone Cold in The Rock. And I was like, no, man. These guys like Chris Benoit, this guy's awesome. Shawn Michaels, it might have been Shelton Benjamin at the time. So then we started to watch the match for a few seconds, right? And keep in mind, this is still like 12, 13 years ago. But at that time, what was already started, like the first thing my friend noticed was that during the match, the fans were cheering for both guys. So he was like, why are they cheering for both guys? I go, oh, it's different now. I go, it's because the wrestlers are so good. They just love the wrestlers. And he's like, that's stupid, though. He goes, one guy should be a bad guy and one guy should be a good guy. And I was like, no, it's not like that anymore, man. That's like old. Like, he was like, nah, that's stupid, man. He goes, you shouldn't be cheating. And the fans were starting to do like, this is awesome or something. They were doing some kind of chant. And I just remember him saying all this stuff. And I was like so upset with him. I was like, no, man, this is how wrestling is now. And now I look back on that and I realize, like, shoot, he was kind of right. Like, in some ways, like, wrestling has changed so much, but it should be more about, like, I hate this guy. He's a jerk. He's an asshole. He's a horrible guy, and this guy's like a good guy, or whatever. So, like, in that sense, yeah, like I do kind of wish that things had changed a bit. Sometimes when I listen to the podcast, I always think to myself, like first of all, like, I can't go into details in describing a wrestling match the way you guys do. Like you and Pete on This Week in Wrestling, and even other people too, like Quentin. I hear him like dissect a match. Actually, everybody, so many people, and I'm like, man, I can't even do that. Like talking about things like the Shine sequence and getting heat on somebody. And I always think to myself, man, like that's so different than when I used to be a fan when I was a kid. Like it's just so foreign in some ways. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, it completely does. I mean, Adrian, what do you think about that idea as someone who is in, I guess, the film side of things and just like film in general, of like criticism versus fandom?
I get what you guys are saying. Like, you shouldn't dissect something too much to the point where you can't enjoy it anymore. Like, you should still be able to analyze something and appreciate it for what it is, but at the same time also be able to have like a critical eye as well without having to like complete. Because I was thinking the other day, I was like, how would I have made Star Wars Rogue One better if I had written it? Right. And then I thought in my head, well, I would have done this and that, but everything else is great. No, I love that. Let's keep that. You know what I mean? I still enjoy it as a piece of art. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna like dissect it to the point where like I don't, where I, you know, or overanalyze it to the point where you can't enjoy it anymore. But I do have a question for you guys, really quick. Shawn Michaels, I know he's called the Heartbreak Kid. Now, can you guys explain to me why that's his name? I'm really curious about that. Whose heart is he breaking? Like, is that
the ladies?
Yeah, all the girls.
He breaks the ladies' hearts.
I love that name. I love that the HBK, the Heartbreak Kid. That's awesome. That's a good wrestler name right there.
It is. No, okay, but Adrian, back to this topic. I mean, we were talking about film a little bit earlier with Carlito's Way and John Leguizamo. Film is another medium where I think that criticism even amongst creators is pretty common. I mean, just like, I guess wrestling, there's a little bit less of it by the actual wrestlers doing criticism, but so many of the fans feel the need to critique. Do you think being someone who does things in the field, in the video field, like, do you think it's impossible to not have a hypercritical eye against anything that you see because of being so in depth into the, like,
if you're a creator, it's impossible to not have a what did you call it, a hyper critical eye? Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, honestly, I'll be watching the movie sometimes and I'll be thinking, oh, that angle's a little weird. Why do they shoot it that way? Or that camera movement certainly stands out probably too much. Like I wouldn't have shot it. You know, I'm not like I was watching Breaking Bad the other day, and I was thinking that I'm like I still love Breaking Bad, but as someone who is into filmmaking and stuff, you know, you just kind of naturally have that sort of, like you said, hypercritical eye of things. So yeah, no, it's I think it's impossible not to have it. I mean, and at the end of the day, you know, at the end of the day, everybody's an armchair quarterback, right? So I don't know. I think I guess that's just the way it is. Especially if you're really like how you guys are really into wrestling. Obviously I'm not, but how you guys are really into it, and you guys really know how to break stuff down and kind of like, and you're not doing it to deride it, right? You're doing it just because you want to discuss it. You want to, you know, get to like what it means.
That's part of the thing, though. Is it seems I think it's just so much easier when discussing something to go for the kind of the things that you could nitpick. I find that people have more language to critique something in a negative way than they do to kind of critique it in the positive ways.
Yeah, I can see that. Like I said, everybody at the end of the day is an armchair quarterback. Like they think they could have done it better, but I mean, at the same time, like these are professionals that you guys that we're talking about here. Like they're not perfect, but they're at a level where they're doing something right in order to get to where they are. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
like,
right.
Sometimes I question myself because I say, like, how, like, to that point, sometimes I say to myself, who am I to criticize this performance? Like, these guys must know way more than, like, they must, like, how could I possibly think that what they're doing is not right? You know what I mean? And maybe that's not even the right language to use, because maybe it's not ever saying that what they're doing is not right. But sometimes I do catch myself, like, when I'm feeling critical of a match, I'm like, well, wait, like, and I'm saying to myself, oh, he should have done this or he should have done that. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why, if he should have done that, why didn't he do that? Yeah. This guy's an actual wrestler. He's the actual performer. I'm a critic. I'm like like an armchair quarterback, like picking things apart. And like, maybe that's not my place to do it. Maybe I should just sit back and enjoy the, I don't even want to call it the art, but I guess in a way it is. So sometimes I find myself questioning myself and why am I being this way about a match? I should just sit back and enjoy it. But then at the same time, I think like, no, I'm not a sheep. I should still be able to have my own opinion on something, right? Like, so it feels like it's a fine line. And it's also interesting, like, Timothy, for me, because like, okay, I'm like 43 years old, right? I started watching wrestling when I was 9 years old.
You don't sound 43. No.
I don't. Yeah, it's weird.
I don't mean that in a bad way, by the way. You don't sound 43.
Yeah, and you know what? It's. I know that I don't sound 43. When I say I'm 43, I can't believe I'm saying that. It sounds like a foreign. It sounds like a foreign object has entered into my my vocabulary and has just come out. It's like I'm using a foreign object on someone, but it's me saying I'm 43 years old. I don't even know how that happened, but like, it's so funny, but. Like, to my point, like, when I started watching wrestling when I was 9 years old, right? And it was so different back then to the way it is now. And that's the thing that I noticed the most is that, like, when I was a kid and I was watching wrestling in 1983, for example, and I don't know, maybe at that, like, it seems like the people who are wrestling fans today are way more smart about what wrestling is and about the business. Everything has been exposed. And everything wasn't exposed back then, even though people knew that it wasn't real. It's like what Jim Cornette always says, like, people knew that it wasn't real, but they also didn't know exactly how it was being done. Just like a magician, like you watch a magician, you watch their show, and you know that what you're seeing it can't possibly be real, but at the same time, you can't figure out how they're doing the illusion, how they're pulling the wool over your eyes. And that's like kind of what wrestling was like. Back then, it was exciting and it was vibrant and you didn't know what was going on and wins and like for me, I found like when I was a kid watching it, like all these things were so important and it was about being a fight. It was about violence and about hatred between the opponents and blood and feuds. And today, a fan that I am today, it's about, like, I don't even care who wins or loses. I don't care about storylines anymore because WWE has just killed that for me, that part of wrestling. And like, so all I look for now is to see like an entertaining match, like to enjoy it, right? And there's so many different styles of entertaining matches, and that's what I try to be open to the most now. Like at one point, I would find myself saying, "Oh, I hate a Will Ospreay Ricochet match because this, and this," and there's things about their match that I don't like, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? It's still pretty cool. Or Young Bucks. Like I was at the Ring of Honor show in May, and the main event was Young Bucks and Kenny Omega against Tanahashi, Christopher Daniels, and Frankie Kazarian. And that match was like 30 plus minutes long. I watched it. Seeing it live, it was like one of the best experiences I've had. I just had so much fun watching that match. I watched it back on video, and I was like, oh man, it's nowhere near like as good as it was live at the time. But it's like my expectations of what wrestling is so different now than what it used to be. And I sometimes I wonder if that's to a detriment. Or there's some things about it that are good, and there's some things about it that aren't as good. You know what I mean? Like one thing that I was thinking about, Timothy, is like a lot of the guys like you and other people that I've talked to online and in say Slack chat, for example, like are so much younger than I am that didn't have a chance to experience wrestling the way it used to be, and have only had a chance to experience the way it is now, and are able to look back on wrestling in the past, but weren't actually able to experience it at that time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. But do you think that there's, like, would you say that there's no way to effectively kind of look back on a period of time in wrestling and actually appreciate it as well as you would if you had lived through that time?
Yeah, no, I think you could. I think definitely if you're like a person who's thoughtful and reflective and really enjoys, like if it's something that you have a passion for and that you love, absolutely you can look back on a period just like anything. Like if you're a movie buff, you can look back at movies from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and you can appreciate them, and you can put yourself in to a certain extent into a mind frame of thinking about that time of history, what things might have been like to the best of your ability, and you can definitely fully appreciate it. But there is one tiny aspect of it is just that you can do that, yes, but there is one part of it that's just missing, is actually being there in the moment. It's a little bit different, you know what I mean? But absolutely 100% anybody can look back on you can look back on 1990s All Japan and fully appreciate it, or early 1980s territory wrestling, right, and appreciate it fully. But the one thing that you don't get to experience is what it was like when you like for me, for example, and maybe it's because I was really young at that time too, right, but 9 years old, turning on wrestling and being scared, like being absolutely terrified because the Iron Sheik was like talking, and he looked scary, and he was like yelling and screaming. He had this title belt around his waist. The other thing, like, you know what I remember? I remember Sergeant Slaughter. I was like 9 years old, flipping through the channels, and it was WUTV channel 29 from Buffalo, New York, right? And they would have WWF, World Wrestling Federation. And I remember Sergeant Slaughter with his riding crop. He was a bad guy. This was just before he became a good guy. It was Iron Sheik had just maybe won the. I remember when I first started watching, Iron Sheik was the champion. I didn't know who Bob Backlund was. All I knew was Iron Sheik was the champion. And Sergeant Slaughter used to scare the crap out of me. He'd come to the ring with that riding crop. He'd beat the crap out of guys, choke them out with that Cobra Clutch. And it's like things like that were so different about wrestling back then. Like there was an aura of excitement around it that you don't get to experience, because you can only really fully experience that if you're there in the moment for it. But at the same time, you can put yourself in the shoes of someone and think, gee, what would it have been like to go back in time? And like those guys were larger than life back then, you know what I mean? And it's so different than the way it is today. In even WWE today, it's such a different product. The way it's presented is it's not scary, it's not threatening, it's homogenous all the way around. Like, that's the best way I could describe it. But in the 80s, and keep in mind, like, I'm talking about WWF, which compared to other territories would have been like the kind of silly promotion, you know what I mean, like the kind of not really serious one. And even then, at that, compared to the way wrestling is today, it was just so night and day. So to make a long answer short, yeah, absolutely. You can definitely. Sorry, you can definitely.
No.
Just to clarify my point is that, yeah, absolutely, you can definitely look back and appreciate things for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like you're able to look back and appreciate it maybe even more fondly because you have that memory of the time and being there. So it might be hard for people to put themselves back into your shoes as you're talking about it there.
And it's not even like it's hard. It's just like, to me, it's just like, I feel like everyone that's a wrestling fan today, like, are such big fans of it. Like, because you couldn't be a fan of this if you weren't like really, really invested in it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, sometimes my thing is like, I think, man, the one thing that people don't get to experience today, they get to experience way better matches today. They get to experience way more athleticism today. They get to experience like so many cool things. But the one thing that they don't get to experience is that real sense of danger and that possibility that this might be real. You know what I mean? And that's the part that's gone from wrestling, which is sad. Like, going forward, people will never get a chance, I don't think, to experience that one aspect of wrestling, which is like, back then, that was the coolest part about wrestling. Like, when I was a kid, like, a match was a good match, but it wasn't like it was just like, oh, that was good. Like, and it didn't have to be good. It just had to be like it was just there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
No, I get what you mean. There wasn't I guess there wasn't a concept of picking it apart that way. Because it was an artistic endeavor. It was just it's kind of like, you don't really think about, I guess, sports or boxing matches or football games. You don't think about them the same way as being bad or good.
I think so, yeah. I think that's kind of what it was, because it was more like a simulated, like a simulated fight. And it's funny though, because like, when I was a little kid, and by the time I was 10 or 11, like, I would recognize, like, I would like a British Bulldogs match. I would like a Randy Savage match. I would like Ricky Steamboat. But at the same time, like, if I used to think Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy were the coolest guys. Like, I would be happy to see them come on the TV screen. Today, if I had to go back and watch a match and it was King Kong Bundy and Big John Studd, I'd be like, oh, I can't believe I used to watch this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. So I feel like I'm getting really introspective in tearing apart the concept of wrestling, and it's kind of because I'm influenced by the conversation I just recently had with Tom over on Military Industrial Suplex. But this is not the show for that, or it's not supposed to be. So, Adrian, is there any loose ends that you want to quickly ask about that maybe we kind of went by that you didn't quite understand in the part that we're talking right now?
No, everything seems pretty straightforward. I was just wondering about the whole Shawn Michaels thing, but you guys answered that.
That was a nice random one, so thanks for that. So we'll go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be right back, and then now we'll delve a little bit more into the other side of Carl Mann.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, pro wrestling announcer Kevin Kelly here. I want to make sure you are all subscribed to all the great feeds here at Place to Be Nation. It's really easy to do. Just head to iTunes or your preferred podcatcher app today and search and subscribe to the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed, which of course includes the full archives of the Kevin Kelly Show, the Place to Be Nation pod feed, and the Pro Wrestling Only feed. Subscribe, listen, and then rate us and leave feedback today. And be sure to give Justin your true thoughts. I mean, don't hold back. After all, he is kind of a jerk. Just listen to Scott.
Place to Be Nation's JT Rosero and Chad Campbell here. We want to let you know that we have a ton of great podcasts available to you on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlaceToBeNation.com, and we offer those to you on 3 great feeds. On the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed, we bring you the Mothership, the original Place to Be podcast, as well as Main Event, Lucha, Afterground, and our monthly pay-per-view reaction shows, as well as the Our Vantage Point podcast and Jeff Learns Wrestling. In addition to these full-length shows, we also deliver quick-hit pod blasts on topics old and new.
Over on the Pro Wrestling Only feed, we dive deep inside the wrestling business with a stacked army of experts leading the way. The feed features potpourri shows such as This Week in Wrestling, Greetings from Allentown, Psychology is Dead, Puro Potpourri, Stacy and Elliot's Bogus Journey, and the Military Industrial Suplex. We also have shows that focus intently on certain topics like Letters from Center Stage, Space City, and NWA Classics on Demand Adventure, Through the Years, Strong Style History, Strong Style Story, and Mount Olympus. Plus, the feed has the full archives of legendary shows like Titans of Wrestling, Where the Big Boys Play, Letters from Kayfabe, and much more. And on our popular Place to Be Nation Pop podcast feed, we offer such great shows as the Glenn Butler Podcast Hour Spectacular, Rank and File, PTBN Dadcast, Go Home in a Box, NBA Team, and Lucha Undead, as well as a veritable podcast heaven for comics fans with the Hard Traveling Fanboys, Seller's Points, Todd Weber's Conversation, Geek and Sassy, and Imaginary Stories podcasts.
You can find all of these current shows plus archives of our past podcasts, including The Kevin Kelly Show, as well by subscribing to all of our feeds on iTunes, and while there, be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows, plus others, available on PlaceToBeNation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus in-depth stretch projects and more. Be sure to support our site by using PlaceToBeNation.com/Amazon when shopping online, and download our free PTB Vintage Vault Refresh ebooks via the links on our site. We also want to thank our friends at Bonehead's Wing Bar in West Warwick, Rhode Island, and Fall River, Massachusetts, TheHistoryOfWrestling.com, and Scott Keats' blog of Doom. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
All right, well, we are back, and Carl, let's, I guess, start out with some basic geographical stuff. So, you're in Toronto now, spent your whole life in Toronto?
Yeah, I spent my whole life here.
All right, school, everything like that. You're in school now, correct?
Yeah, making change in my life, and I re-enrolled in college last year, so I'm taking basically it's like a social worker program, a community worker / social worker. So I have one more year to go, starting in September, and then hopefully I can do something. I'm kind of interested in doing something in the field of drug addiction.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm actually starting in September. I'm going to be doing a co-op placement at a men's sober living house, which is sort of in kind of like close to downtown Toronto. And so that's going to be interesting. From September to April, I'm going to be like twice a week, working at this. It's at a men's sober living house. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be pretty challenging and stuff. So that's kind of like where I'm looking at my future, being somewhere and helping people with addictions.
That's very interesting because, you're our third social worker who's been on the show, and the second Canadian. So, not the second Canadian in general, but the second Canadian social worker, or soon-to-be social worker.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Who was the other one, if you don't...
Dave Musgrave.
Oh, no way. And he's from Toronto, too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I should definitely talk to him, man, and ask him, pick his brain or something, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it's just very interesting to find out that so many people who are kind of involved with the wrestling scene online, at least the good ones, the ones who aren't online acting like complete jerks, end up turning out to be people who are compassionate outside of wrestling Twitter as well. So that's really cool.
That is really cool. It's kind of interesting.
So you're drawn to it out of kind of that idea that you just want to help people?
Yeah, I want to help people, and I want to kind of give back a little bit. And for me, I've gone through some tough times over the last few years, and then I won't get into any details or anything like that. But it's just sort of like my eyes have been open to different. I don't know, how would you put it? Like, I've seen some suffering that people have gone through, and I've seen that. There are solutions to it, and there's there's actually places that there's places and there's people that are actually trying to help, which I didn't really know that. I didn't know that there was people that cared that much that actually had for example, this sober living house that I'm gonna be doing my co-op placement at. I didn't know that they had places like that available, and it's just I think it's really cool, and it's I want to be a part of that too. So.
No, I mean that it is super cool, and it's really noble of something to look into. So, I guess if you don't mind me asking, what were you doing before you were in school?
Man, I've been doing way too many things.
I guess professionally, are you one of these had a lot of jobs?
Yeah. I've been, man, ever since I stopped high school, I've been bouncing around job after job, just doing all kinds of different stuff. The last job that I had, I was a bill collector. I worked as a bill collector for 6 years, which is just a crazy profession in itself. So for 6 years, basically, I was on the phones calling people and asking them to pay their bills, and that really sucked. It was a really sucky job, and it kind of changes. Like it changed who I was as a person, and it changed like my attitude on things and the way I treated people and the way I thought about things. And it wasn't for the better. It was for the worse. And it took a lot of things in my life to make me reevaluate like who I was and where I was heading in life, and like what kind of things I placed value on and what kind of things I disregarded or thought were worthless or valueless. And yeah, so I mean, I was doing that. I've had all kinds of jobs, man, over the last like 20 plus years, mostly in retail. And I used to work at IKEA. That was pretty interesting. I worked at IKEA for like 5 years, so that was quite an experience.
Adrian, you got any questions you want to ask?
What was that like working at IKEA? Because I mean, that I'm sure you worked in just one section, right? Because that place is huge. I can't imagine having to go all around that entire store.
Oh,
right?
Dude, I worked everywhere in IKEA, and it was massive. It was a huge store. I worked in so many different departments, and that job was insane, man, especially on Saturdays and Sundays. It was so busy. So when I started at IKEA, I worked in the self-serve warehouse, and basically would have to, like, people would come with their shopping list of items and they would not be able to pick up the boxes. So myself or one of the other coworkers in the self-serve warehouse would basically we were like gophers. We would go around with the shopping carts and load up people's carts for them. And it was just crazy, man. And
that is crazy. I mean, like I said, you don't. There's no such thing as, oh, I'm gonna pop into the IKEA really quick to get this. No, like you have to dedicate time out of your day to go to IKEA, even if you're just going to peruse and maybe you're gonna buy like one or two things, you know.
Oh, and like, listen, like so, like you said, so people would show up in the showroom, right, and they'd spend their hour and a half looking around, seeing what items they wanted to buy, right, doing everything the way you're supposed to do it, writing down like, oh, I want to buy this bed, and it says it's in aisle 1, row 36, and I want to buy this, and it's
bin
in aisle
3500.
Exactly. So they spent that hour and a half doing that. So they expect everything to run smoothly, but unfortunately at IKEA, and it's no fault of their own. It's just the way it is. When you get down to that warehouse, things aren't where they're supposed to be. Something has gone out of stock and they didn't realize it on the showroom floor. So it's just frustration levels rise for everybody. The workers that are there, the people who are trying to get all the products that they want to get.
Yeah.
So that job was like, it was a trip, man. It was. It was an experience. I worked everywhere in there. I worked in the warehouse. I worked in the. I used to work in the lighting department. I used to work in the.
I love the lighting department.
Yeah, I love the lighting department too. I used to work in the showroom upstairs for a while, in the sofas, and I think it was called sofas and something department, whatever. But yeah, I used to like the lighting department. It was interesting, man. So,
yeah, somebody should write like a think piece article on like the psychology of IKEA. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and why the store's layout is the way it is, and why they, you have to write down a number to find the the items that you want. It's not just a matter of just picking. I mean, obviously some things are you just pick it up and go, but like a lot of things you have to go search for it yourself. And like that just seems like the most interesting store like in existence to me, because it's like no other store is like that. Literally no other store that I can think of is like you walk in to this huge building and you kind of just have to like pick what you want, write down the number, go and find it yourself, pull it out of the damn thing. You know what I mean? Like that's, I don't know. I find it kind of fascinating, if I'm being perfectly honest.
It really is fascinating, man. It was an experience working there. Like I regret like the when I did work there, this would have been maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And the one thing I regret is like the maturity level that I had at that time. Like I wish I was more of a mature person and I could have handled things like a lot better, like in terms of my work experience there, because it would have been a lot more. It could have been a lot more rewarding than it was.
Yeah.
And for me, I definitely focus too much on the like, even when we were talking about wrestling, how it seems like it's easy to negatively like to criticize something, right? It was the same way I found for me. My experience of working at IKEA was that there was a lot of camaraderie amongst the staff about commiserating on how horrible life was there. It's like a common bonding experience, and it's just the one thing I regret is that experience probably could have been a lot better if I had a more mature way of handling my life at that time. I'll say that.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's retail. It's not exactly a glamorous line of work.
No.
You know?
Oh, absolutely not. No. but the cool thing about, and keep in mind, like, I think I started working there I think it was like 2004. So looking at like 13, 14 years ago now. But at that time, like, the cool thing about that place was that it was a place that, like, I mean, it's retail, but as far as retail goes, they treat you a lot better in terms of pay and things like benefits than maybe a lot of retail places do. And there's a lot of room for upward movement within the company itself, and also even like having experiences like traveling abroad to work at IKEAs in like different countries and things which I never considered taking advantage of at that time. But in retrospect, maybe would have been cool if I did. Like there was definitely room for like working hard, and like that hard work could be rewarded within that company, at least back then. I don't know how it is today, but at that time there was like it was cool in that sense, in that regard.
Do you have any life pro tips you can share about IKEA, and any little secrets that people might not know about that could help them?
IKEA-crits?
That's a good question.
IKEA-crits?
Yeah, you know what? If this was like 10, 12 years ago, for sure I would, but I've forgotten them all by now. I would say try and if you try and make friends with like people that work there in the store, like try and be friendly with them, especially if you're planning on shopping there a lot, and maybe even like that they have a scratch and dent section, and sometimes like you never know, there could be some good deals inside that section. And if you're friendly or on a good term basis with certain people there, like they might let you know, like, hey, we just got this item in, and you might like it or something. I don't know. That's the best I can come up with.
You know what I really love about IKEA is the little apartment setups they have.
Yeah,
I always think it'd be a funny sketch if like someone filmed like a little guerrilla style movie in one of their like little apartment setups.
Yeah, that would be so cool, man. I love when I worked there. I remember they would have like a room that was like the smallest possible room, but they want to show you how well they could fit like a living space into this small space.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. Like they have a room there, which like the best I could think of is like maybe the way like one of those hotels in Japan would be, like the little pull out couch style hotels, and they would have this tiny little room, but they were able to put like a little cot in there and a work table and a bench and this and that. So yeah, I know what you mean.
There's something I don't know, maybe folksy is the wrong word, but there's something folksy almost about a small minimal living space that's just the necessities. Like I go on Reddit sometimes and I look at like minimalist style like apartment homes and stuff, and I'm like, oh, like that looks like an art gallery, but at the same time it's kind of cool, It's like it's too sterile, but at the same time it's like cool that somebody can like live with like a coffee table and a mug, and that's their whole like living setup,
Yeah. I used to, when I'd walk into the showroom upstairs, I used to look at some of those rooms and I'd be like, man, like, wow, just from shopping here, this is what your house could look like. You know what I mean? Like relatively cheap. And
relatively cheap, yeah. You're not really breaking the bank at IKEA. I mean, I'm looking at 4 things in my living room right now that are from IKEA, so I love IKEA. I don't like going there too often because I know, like I said, you have to like carve out an hour or 2 of your day to go to IKEA, because that's just the way. Like, there's no quick trip to it doesn't exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much. I've never stepped foot inside an IKEA since I left that job.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when I left that place, I was fed up with it. I never wanted to see another IKEA in my life. And
are you in a relationship at all right now, or no?
What's that?
Are you in a relationship at all?
Oh no, I'm not. No.
Because I was gonna say it's like the ultimate like thing to do if you're in a relationship. Like, I don't know if you've gone to an IKEA with your wife, but like for me and my wife, like we go there. We don't go there all the time. We go there at least once every couple of months, and it's like
really?
all you see
go more often.
All I see are couples there. Like when I go, like literally couples and families.
Yeah, that's true, man. And yeah, that's true. And the thing I used to always remember is college students. It would always be college students going to buy stuff for like going away to college and stuff.
Yeah,
like
that makes sense.
I used to see that a lot. I'd always see the mom and dad and like the teenager and stuff like that.
Yeah, it kind of runs the gamut though, from like young couples to like older families who have like younger kids and stuff.
You know what? Too in Toronto, because this is like a super multicultural city. We have like lots of immigration, like lots of people coming to live here from like all kinds of places all over the world.
Yeah.
And the IKEA that I worked at was in a central. I live in a city called Scarborough. It's basically like, I don't know. Toronto is like basically split up into something called the Greater Toronto Area. It's an amalgamation of all these smaller cities that make up the one big city of Toronto. And like where I live is like it's like working class, like blue collar, lots of immigrants, like lots of Caribbean, lots of Asian, South Asian, and that's one thing also is that when I worked at IKEA, a lot of times you would get people who had just come into Canada and this was their first shopping experience, was buying stuff for wherever they were going to be living.
Yeah.
Like buying their furniture, their beds, their everything. It would be like a husband and wife. Like there was one time actually in the warehouse where I was walking down one of the aisles and someone had left their purse on top of one of the aisles, and I called the security and I was like, oh, this and that. A couple minutes later, there's this woman and she's basically crying, like just bawling, and she was just so relieved. But it turned out that her and her husband had just come to Toronto from mainland China. All of the money that they owned had been converted into Canadian dollars and was inside her purse, and they were there shopping to buy the furniture for the place that they were living. So they thought that they basically all the money that they owned they had lost.
But somebody, a good Samaritan, was able to help them out.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Which was me.
You!
Oh,
I found their purse in the middle, at the end of an aisle.
You should have told her. You should listen. You got lucky this time, but next time you might not get so lucky. So put all your money in the bank. I mean,
I was gonna say, did you fall for that sob story, or did you keep the purse like a smart person would?
No, I handed the purse over before the sob story. Like I and let them know. And then the sob story came afterwards.
You should have said, "You're in the first world now. Go to a bank."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? No. But my best IKEA story is so at IKEA, in the warehouse, a lot of people, like, we're not allowed to take tips, but a lot of people want to tip you, especially older people, like older ladies. It's just like their thing. They'll tip you like $2, $5, right? Nothing big, right? But what happens from time to time is you get like people that just don't want to deal with they've spent that hour and a half in the store and they've got a list of like 30 items that they need to pick up now, and they don't want to do it. So every now and then you get a person that'll be like listen, go get this stuff for me, I'll pay you. And so I had a guy one time, a guy who's actually from Baltimore and had moved to Toronto. And he was like, yo, man, he's like, here's $50. Can you get this stuff for me? I was just like, yeah, sure. I took the 50. I was like, no problem. Give me 2 minutes. I'll have it all for you. It took me like literally 3 minutes because I knew where everything was. I just ran around, filled up a whole cart with him. That was like my best day at IKEA was a guy paid me $50 to get all his stuff for him.
I would have been happy with a handful of Werther's Originals. Never mind $50. That's.
I know, $50. That was huge, man. That's... A lot of times, like you bring out a person's cart to their car. It's an old lady. They'll give you like $2, and then usually I'm just like, no, it's okay, don't worry. But this is like $50. I was like, nice.
That person's a baller.
I know he was. It was funny, man. I still remember that guy, like the way he acted. He was like a a cool guy, you know what I mean? Like a real like. Yeah. I don't know how to explain it.
What's the population of Toronto, by the way? I'm curious.
I don't know. Maybe like 2. You know what? I don't know. 1.5 million, something like that.
That's not the biggest city in Canada, right? That's one of the bigger cities, I think.
I think population-wise, Toronto must be. I'm gonna look it up right now. I bet you I'm underscoring the population, but I would say definitely we're like the biggest population city. It says right here, population 2.7 million.
Oh, okay.
It's the most populous city in Canada and the provincial capital of Ontario.
So the big cities it's Toronto, Montreal.
Yeah. Vancouver.
Edmonton,
Calgary. Winnipeg would be a big city in Manitoba. Yeah, each province would probably, and Ottawa. Ottawa, it would somewhat be a big city by our standards, by Canadian standards. Yeah.
I want to go to Canada someday, but I know I have to go during the warmer months because you guys get crazy winters up there, and I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, Toronto's not too bad, but it does get cold. Like, where do you live?
I live in Denver, Colorado, and I'm from I'm from where Tim and I are both from the desert, so I'm still getting used to like having actual seasons, year round. So the winter here, last winter wasn't that bad, but I mean, I know that the further north you go, the worse it can get with like as far as snow and cold and I just don't want to deal with that. I'd love to visit Canada during the summer months, which I think are pretty mild there, right? Like you guys don't get really hot summers, do you?
Yeah, we do. In Toronto, we do. It's like a weird thing. So in Toronto, we have like issue with humidity, I think. So everything here is super humid in the summertime. It's really here. So here when it's hot, it's like it's uncomfortably hot. It's like it's sticky. It's sweaty. It's really stifling.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that's a kind of weird thing about living in Toronto. So it usually though. Yeah, generally it's mild, probably compared to like living in I don't know yeah, it's probably mild compared to living in places in the States. But one thing about our weather is even though like for example here when the temperature is like for you guys like it would be super hot if it's like 100 degrees or something, right?
Yeah.
And in here like if we had it, we don't get it. We rarely get temperatures that would go that high. But for us, when it's lower than that, it feels hotter for some reason, and I think it's been explained to me that it has to do with the humidity in our city. So I don't know.
Yeah, humidity sucks. I wouldn't want to deal with.
Yeah, it really does. Like, and we have a different, temperature than like I think we do Celsius and you guys do Fahrenheit, or is it the other way around?
We do Fahrenheit. Yeah,
you do Fahrenheit and we do Celsius. So for us, like. It can be 20 degrees Celsius here, which I don't know what that would translate to in Fahrenheit. It might be like high 70s or something.
Let me pull up
really uncomfortable at that temperature.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Colorado gets pretty mild summers compared to like Palm Springs where we're from, but it's a super dry. It's like a really dry heat here. And then you have the altitude, so you're closer to the sun technically. So like 90 degrees here easily feels like 100 degrees in Palm Springs, for example, or the desert, because it's like it's a super dry heat, and you're closer to the sun. So it's just like today I was outside today, and that sun was just bearing down on me. It was not comfortable at all. And yeah, 20 degrees Celsius is 68 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a pretty nice weather. That's not too bad. Can't complain too much about that.
No, definitely not. Like for example, here, like last weekend, we had a super hot weekend in Toronto, and I was playing softball. We have like a softball team. We had a game at 8 a.m. in the morning. We were playing at 8 a.m., at 9:30, and then at 2 p.m. And at 8 a.m. already, it was so hot outside and so unbearably like humid that it was just like it was torture. So at that time, it was like 21 degrees. But the Humidex said that it felt like 34. So I'm just trying to find out what 34 translates to. 34 Celsius Fahrenheit is 93. So it was like 21, which is 68. But because of the humidity, it felt like 93.
Oh, that's not fun.
That's what we have to live with in Toronto, which sucks. But other cities in Canada are not like that. Like if you go to Vancouver, it's really super nice, man. Like very mild weather and so that's just how it is.
We should take a trip, Tim. You and I. We should just go to Canada and do a road show.
We will.
Lucha Undead road show. Wrestling and beer in Canada. Like what could be more fun than that?
You guys would love it, man. You guys would love it. The beer here you would love because there's all kinds of like really cool. Like Toronto's one of those cities that's got like a lot of like really like they like. Very cool and very trendy and also very niche and things like that. So we definitely have like our microbreweries here. We have our like kind of cool places like the beer market. If you go to the beer market, there's that's where they serve beers from all over the world, right? Like all kinds of exotic different beers and stuff. lots of cool places here for sure.
I imagine the beer scene up there is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, it is for sure, man. They're definitely like here. People are definitely into that.
I've never had a Canadian beer though. I know what's like the Bud Light of Canada.
Oh man, it's like Molson Canadian, Canada Dry. No wait, what's it called?
Canada Dry. That's a ginger ale.
That's ginger ale. Sorry. No, so we have like Labatt's. We have so like the basic, like the simple beer, like the Budweiser.
Uh-huh.
Our Budweiser is Molson Canadian. That's like the simple, like easy to go to beer. But we
Right.
have so much. We have Labatt's and Molson. Like those are the two main beer breweries, I guess, in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and there's like all kinds. Like I don't drink beer anymore. I don't drink alcohol or anything like that. But when I used to, it would be like Molson Canadian. Yeah, I used to drink like the strong beers, like the there was one called Black Ice. I remember it was like they taste horrible. They'd be like 6.5% alcohol, 7% alcohol,
Wow.
and stuff. And yeah,
That's crazy.
but Canadian beers are awesome, man. You guys would love it. Like it's like it's different than American beer. It's like it's stronger. It's not as much of a watered down taste to it as like the American beer, from what I understand. But yeah.
Well, we should start a Patreon, Tim. Fund our Canadian roadshow trip.
That will be the next step. Now, Carl, I have to ask you the middle question now, even though it feels like we're getting towards the tail end, which is, are you allergic to anything?
That's the middle question.
Yeah, you don't remember from the... This is now officially the Trevor question, as it came up when we were with Trevor, so that's now the middle of the show question.
Okay.
That's nice, man. I'm gonna say not that I'm aware of, man. I used to be allergic big time to dust. Like dust used to kill me when I was a kid, but it's not so bad anymore. As far as I'm gonna say that as to the best of my knowledge, I'm not allergic to anything right now.
That's acceptable. And you wanted to give us the list. You wanted to do your top 10. So I guess now it's time to get into the top 10, and then from there we'll go into the final question. So let's go, Carl. What's your top 10 matches for 2017 so far?
All right, cool. And so just to give some backstory on this, because yesterday I listened to This Week in Wrestling, and I heard you and Pete give your top 10 matches of the year and your top 10 wrestlers of the year. I love that. So I was like inspired. I was like, I want to give my list. So here it is. After much deliberation, much thought, much wrangling and head wringing and switching things around, this is the final list that I came up with. So at number 10, for matches of the year, this is matches of the year so far. So for number 10, I got Kento Miyahara versus Jake Lee from All Japan Pro Wrestling Champions Carnival Day 1.
Oh, that's a damn good match. That's actually probably in my top 25 so far.
Yeah. So, okay. And so now I switched the order on these matches so many times, so I'm not even happy with the order. But number 9 right now, as of right now, I've moved this down. I think it should be higher. But I have Ilya Dragunov versus Walter from WXW, the finals match of that tournament.
Nice.
I had that at number 9. At number 8, I had AJ Styles versus John Cena from Royal Rumble, which is like, I love that match, man. And I had to still have it on my top 10, so it's in there. Number 7, no one else has this match for sure, but I put it in. I got Suwama versus Ishikawa, also from All Japan Pro Wrestling Champions Carnival Night 1. I love that match. I loved it even more than Miyahara versus Jake Lee. Number 6, I put Naito versus Elgin from, I think that's New Beginning. No, yeah, New Beginning. So I have that match at number 6. Now at number 5, I put Naito versus Tanahashi from Wrestle Kingdom 11. I have that as my number 5 favorite match of the year. At number 4, I put Kushida versus Will Ospreay from the Best of the Super Juniors finals. I love that match so much. And my top 3 are all Okada matches. So I got number 3, Okada. Yeah. I got number 3, Okada versus Omega from Dominion, the 60-minute draw. And even these, I don't know how to put these in the order, but that's what I did. And then I also got Okada versus Shibata at number 2 from the Sakura Genesis show. And my number one match of the year so far is Okada versus Omega from Wrestle Kingdom 11, the first match that those guys had. So that's my top 10 matches of the year, which is really hard to do, man, because I have like another 20 matches that easily could fit in those slots. But yeah, those are the matches. I don't even have a Zack Sabre Jr. match, and he's like he's like my third top wrestler of the year so far, but he didn't make it in the top 10. But I have so many matches of his that would be normally.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then really quickly, because you guys also did your 10 best wrestlers of the year. So I got 10 best wrestlers, and I changed it, man. So I wanted to make a list of my 10 favorite wrestlers of the year. So that's what I'm going to go with, actually. Okay. So this is my list. So number 10 is from DDT. It's Kazusada Higuchi, and I hope I said that name right. I probably butchered it.
Nice. That's a great call, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great call, right? I love his matches, man. I just watched him have a match today against Yukio Sakaguchi from some kind of house show on DDT, and that match was like, yeah, man, I'm putting this guy on my list because I love watching him.
Yeah, his graduation was just recently, and he's really breaking out. I mean, he's actually really good. He was good in DNA, but he's even better now that he's on full-time DDT.
Yeah. And this is what I thought about. I thought about who are my favorite wrestlers. So he's on my list. He's number 10. Number 9, I'm sticking with DDT again. I'm going with Shigehiro Irii. I know I butchered that name as well.
Pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, man. You know what? I enjoy his matches so much, and I can think of like, okay, there's 4 matches of his this year. I'm not saying like none of these matches are match of the year, but they're all good. In King of DDT tournament that just went down the first 2 rounds, I love both of the matches that he had. He had one against Mad Pauly, which is actually a pretty cool match, and I don't think Mad Pauly would be considered like a guy that, you know, a great wrestler by any stretch of the imagination. But they had a nice big man match. I enjoyed it. And then he also had a match, and I can't remember who it was against now. Ishii, I can't say his name. The junior heavyweight, Keisuke Ishii, who was All Japan junior heavyweight champ for a while. They had a good match. He's also had a match with Mike Bailey at that big show earlier this year. The show where Takeshita and Harashima had their big title match. And I like the match that he had in Glory Pro with that guy Kurt Stallion. So that's like 4 matches of his. But anyway, I digress. That's number 9. Number 8, also DDT. It's crazy. They're not even like my favorite promotion. But number 8 is Takeshita, Konosuke Takeshita. I think he's going to be like one of the biggest guys in wrestling in the next 10 or 15 years. So I have him at number 8. So that's 10, 9, 8. And then, oh man, so then it's going to get hard. So I'm going to go with Matt Riddle at number 7. I love Matt Riddle. I want to put Jeff Cobb at number 6, so I'm going to put Jeff Cobb. And I don't think I don't have like matches of his that I think are in the top 10 or top 20, but I still love him. I love watching him wrestle. I love when he's throwing people around. So I put him in there too.
Yeah, that's how he got on my list too. Because I mean, actually, I did have one of his matches in my top 10, but the match with Thatcher from Ambition. Yeah, because I loved that match. But realistically, he doesn't have a lot of stuff that's like above 4-star. But he's just so much fun in every match that he does.
Yeah, man. He's I got to see him live one time now because he was at Smash and they had a 4-way match with him and Michael Elgin and Tarek and Brent Banks. And that was just a lot of fun, especially the interactions between him and Michael Elgin. It was really cool to see, so I had to put him on my list. Number 5, man, I don't know who to put here. I actually had Naito at number 5, but I think I'm going to take him out and I'm putting Kento Miyahara at number 5. So that's my number 5. I like him. And
really?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that he has been good this year, and I was even probably too low on him last year, but I don't know. I mean, has he really done enough in 2017?
I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. But
that's fine.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, so I'm thinking about the wrestlers that are my favorite of the year, right? Right. It's like, for me, he's still my favorite. You know why? It's something about him when he comes to the ring and he does that little thing where he looks around and he's like, he has that look on his, you know what I'm talking about, right? He comes to the ring he looks around at the people with this kind of quizzical look on his face, and then he starts doing the little clap, like, come on guys, clap for me type thing. It's so weird how he does that. I've never seen a wrestler do. I can't even do it justice to explain it. But I just, from the beginning, like the way he does that, just something about him, his presence and stuff. And I like his matches, man. Like this year alone, I like his match with Jake Lee in the Champions Carnival. I like the title defense that he had against Takao Omori, which not too many people talk about, but it was like a 25-minute match, which I love that match. And I love the match that he just had with Ishikawa where he lost the title. That was such a cool match. And there's also the other thing too is there's all kinds of multi-man tags that he's in with Next Stream that I enjoy a lot. So I really like him. So I'm putting him at number 5. I took Naito off and I put him on. My top 4 guys are Kushida is number 4. Number 3 is Zack Sabre Jr. Number 2 is Kenny Omega. And number 1 is Okada. That's my list. And I wish that Ishikawa was on my list, but he didn't make it. And Tanahashi. I wish those 2 guys were on my list.
I mean, good lists all around. You know, I'm not trying to pick on you when I'm, questioning you, just trying to get in deeper and figure it out. So,
Oh, I know. And I wanted the list to be a little bit different. In some ways, it's kind of like, oh, and you know who else? Fred Yehi. I wanted him to be on my list too, but he didn't. But he's not on the list. But I wish he was on.
Couldn't make a spot for old Fred.
Yeah, but he would be. Like, he's just as good as, like, for me, he's equal to anyone that I put on the list. But I don't know. That's my weird way of looking at wrestling. Like, for me, some of it is very mainstream guys, like in our kind of world of wrestling, like having Okada and Omega as your top guys. That's like kind of like the generic response, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of that, and you know who else? Yeah, so in mine I feel like is a mixed bag of guys. Like, you know who else? Sorry, 2 other guys, Kyle O'Reilly and Michael Elgin. I wish they made my list. So my top 10 is actually a top 15. It's like a top 17 or something. But
fantastic.
Yeah, man. Sorry. Thanks for letting me get that for letting me share that on the podcast, Tim. That's so cool.
Yeah, of course, dude. Anytime. All right, Adrian. I think it's time for you know what.
Tim,
you ready for this?
Is it time for the final question?
Oh my God!
You like the little whisper at the end there?
Yeah, you put a little stank on that one. I like it.
Adrian,
It's time. Unfortunately, this is how every episode has to end. So Carl, if someone only knew you, and I wanted to even talk to you about this earlier, but I forgot to. About the idea that you kind of started out, as you said, you got first exposed to Wrestling with Words from Puro and the Rough, and then eventually you got to be on it as a co-host, and I thought you did a great job. I think you still do a great job.
I was horrible on it, man.
But I just wonder how that feels for you, getting to go from being a fan to being a star. But we didn't get a chance to really get into that. But the final question here is, if someone only knew you from what you put out there online, maybe just from Twitter and the reviews and the podcasts that you've done, what would be something that if they found out about you, they would find shocking?
Man, I'm gonna screw this up big time. I know it because I don't have any like crazy shocking thing, unfortunately. So I'm gonna stall for time first, and I'm gonna say thanks for complimenting me on the Puro and the Rough. I think I was horrible on that, but it was cool actually doing that podcast. It was really cool. And I'm just trying to stall for time to think. So what's something that people would be shocked about that they about knowing about me?
Yeah.
What would something be? Maybe they would be shocked to know that maybe that I'm like a big science fiction nerd too. Like my one big passion is wrestling podcast, but my other big passion is like science podcasts, like astronomy, like the cosmology. I love listening to like Michio Kaku and things like that. So basically that, I guess that would be it. It's not really exciting or crazy or anything like that, but it would probably be that I have like a real big interest in. Okay, so sometimes I'll put on like an astronomy lecture on YouTube, So there's this place, Foothills College, somewhere in like California, and they have these astronomy lectures. And I'm drawing a blank on the name of the series, but sometimes I'll actually put those on at night, and before I fall asleep, I'll listen to that. So I'll listen to them talk about the expansion rate of the galaxy and why is it continuing to expand at a faster rate or something like weird like that. So that would probably be it. It's not very exciting, sorry.
No, I like that type of thing. The universe and all that stuff, but it's actually more exciting than it sounds.
Oh, yeah, it is, I guess. Like, I'm drawing, like, it's funny, I'm drawing a blank on some of the like lectures that I've listened to lately, and but some of them I can't even handle them. After like 10-15 minutes, I'm like, why am I listening to this? I don't understand a single word they're saying. But
yes, I know some of those words.
yeah, basically that's it. And I try to think about it, so I, like, about 10 minutes in, I'll be like, so am I figuring this out? And I'll be like, nope, not even close, like, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm still listening. Like, I don't know, it's yeah, that would be it, Tim. That would be it.
That's good stuff.
That's good, yeah. So Carl, is there anything you want to plug before we get you out of here?
Nah, no, not really. I mean, you could follow me on Twitter at CarlitosWay745. But mostly I just retweet like things that I see that I think are cool. That's pretty much it, and that's about it.
I'm gonna follow you right now.
Soon, no?
I don't think so, man. Like, I was gonna try and do one with Jamal, like another Puro in the Rough, but it's been tough for me lately, man. To like just a lot of things going on here. It's making it difficult to do that. So you know what it is? You know what's tough about it is actually watching the content to be able to like give a like a sensible discussion about different shows. Lately I just don't have the time to sit there and watch like all the different wrestling. It's too much. As I'm sure everyone knows, it's way too much content, man. So
there definitely is too much content out there. And I guess if you're going to do a podcast with Jamal, one of you has to be sensible.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So I suggested to Jamal, you give me the list and I'll read it out to you and then you comment on everything. So if we do a podcast, that's probably how it's going to have to go. Is like I'll throw everything to him and then he can, which I think would be a better podcast, to be honest, right? Is like get his takes on everything, and I could play like the straight man, like sort of throw him the lines. I could be I know you're gonna hate this, but I could be like the Rich Craich to his Joe Lanza. Maybe not the best analogy, but it's like, it's the best I could come up with on short notice. One thing though, which I will say, is I'm going to be going to the Scenic City Invitational in August. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be the first time that I've traveled somewhere to go watch wrestling, like other than watching it here in Toronto. So I'll be traveling to Tennessee to watch some Southern graps,
Well, that's the plug then. Get out there, and anybody who sees Carl at a Scenic City Invitational, give him a what's up. Maybe buy him a T-shirt or something, huh?
Exactly. Thank you, Tim. Thank you. That's exactly right. Listen to Tim. Buy me a T-shirt when you see me. And we'll go from there. But no, I'm excited for that, and there's gonna be like a lot of cool people that are going to that, so I can't wait to like meet to watch the wrestling and also meet like other fans too. It's gonna be so much fun.
Well, again, thank you for coming on so much, Carl. Adrian, you need to plug anything you need to plug before we go?
No, just follow me at Della Boots on Twitter and follow us at Lucha Undead. Check out our Top Beer edition every other week on the show. We've been doing a sort of semi-new format lately, which I'm having a lot of fun with. I hope you are, Tim, and that's it.
All right. Well, I guess time for the old close out. Been thinking about starting my own new, or not new, but not even my own closeout. So I think I will debut it here tonight in the immortal words of Mike Hogwood. Slap the porpoise, it's over.
I like that.